Okay. So very good morning, my dear participants, and uh, thank you organizers for giving me this opportunity to share some useful information about the Internet of Things. So which is the most the prominent technology that are ruling our whole world nowadays. Right. Okay. Well, the Internet of Things is influencing our day to day life. It is influencing our day to day life in terms of our, especially in this pandemic situations, Internet is ruling everywhere. We are not supposed to go and buy some things. You just order in online, and you are doing the things in a more smarter way. So how this and all happen? And we are going to automate we are trying to automate the things without the intervention of the human beings. We are trying to give the knowledge to the machines to take decisions by itself. That means we are not going to do anything without the manual intervention. We are trying to make the machines to talk and think like a human being. So how it is possible? It is all by means of the Internet of Things. Okay. um, for example, our air conditioner that you are controlling, yes, yeah, you are controlling from a remote place. So we are in some other place, and we are trying to control our air conditioner in our home. So how this and all happens? Especially our smart cars, it provides the shortest route. You have to give the source and the destination. Then the smart car will get triggered, and it will start showing the shortest path where you have to go and where you have to reach and what are the places nearby. It will start sending the all the information to the drivers, right? So these are all some of the innovative applications of Internet of Things. So these are all so how the things are getting or possible by without any the hardware applicants, and without any the huge equipments. These and all the things are possible by means of the Internet of Things, right? Okay. Then, actually, the Internet of Things is a giant network with the connected devices. It is a giant network with the connected devices. Here, the devices in the sense, the devices which has the ability to transfer the data over the network, we can say it as a physical device. Okay, the devices which is the ability to transfer the data over the network. I just say the air conditioner is a physical device. So how we can say air conditioner is a physical device? How it gets a life? Yes, it is by means of the tiny embedded sensors. Okay, well, that when the tiny embedded sensors are getting embedded with some physical device, we are trying to give a life to a physical device. Okay, so by this way only the physical devices are getting life. The physical devices are embedded with the sensors, and these sensors, so what is the role of the sensors? The role of the sensor is to sense the environment. Okay, so once the sensor sense the environment, it transfers the data to the physical device. So after the physical device gets the information from the sensor, it will start transmitting the data to the end user. That means your air conditioner is showing this kind of it is showing this amount of temperature. So you have to on the refrigerator, on the air conditioner, or you have to stop the air conditioner, or you have to lower the temperature. So this and all the things the end user are getting abundantly, right? So how the data is transferred? The data is transferred over the internet connection. Okay, so without the internet connection we can't get the data from the air conditioner. So this air conditioner starts sending the data about its present status. Yes, I am having the now 30 degrees Celsius is now the temperature is 100 degrees Celsius. So what it will do? It will automatically the lower the temperature to balance the room temperature. That means you have to lower it or you have to higher it. So these kind of the things are possible by means of Internet of Things, because all the things are getting controlled by means of the internet technology. Okay, now so this is called as a physical device, and the physical device getting a life by means of a small sensors that are embedded to it. Okay, right. Then there is some question where my data has gets dumped, because as I said, my physical devices start generating some data, and via the internet, and the end user is getting the results, some useful information, and I'm getting in my smartphone or in my end devices, right? So in my end device, okay. So between the physical device and the end device, that means the physical device in the sense it is a air our air conditioner, and the end device is my mobile phone. So between the air conditioner and the mobile phone, so there is some central space where my data gets dumped. Okay, so we need some space to put all my data, because in a fraction of a second, the millions of data, terabytes of data are getting transferred over the network. Okay, so we need some space, we need some platform to dump our data. So that platform is called as a cloud. Okay, so we are going to dump, or we are going to accumulate all our device data in some space called as a cloud. Okay, so in that cloud only some processing will take place, some analytics will take place, and my data is getting converted into some useful information. Okay, so because so why? Because the air conditioner is starts sending the temperature readings. Okay, but in the cloud only it gets processed, and it will give the information as your room temperature is high, your room temperature is low. So this kind of processing or takes place in the cloud. It is not going to get takes place in the physical location. It is not going to take place in the space where the AC is situated. So it has to take place in some other place called as the cloud. Okay, so this is the relation between the IO, that means the device, the cloud, and the end device, right? Okay, then comes, actually, IoT is an internet connected objects. So I'm saying the physical objects. The physical object in the sense air conditioners and our refrigerators, and even a human being with some wearable the sensors. Okay, some pulse rate sensor or some temperature sensor. Then I can say I'm an object. I'm a physical object in the context of the Internet of Things, and I have to get the ability to collect and exchange the data using some embedded sensor. That's what I have said. Yes, because the physical object is a dumb physical object. Okay, it has no life at all. It has no what to say. It has no ability to get to transfer the data over the network. So how it gets life? Only when the sensors is getting attached to it, the physical object getting some life. Okay, it will start generating some data. Okay, so I can say the physical object is one which is which has the ability to transfer the data over the network. How? Using some embedded sensors. Okay, when my AC is getting attached to the temperature sensor, then I can say my AC has the ability to transfer the data over the network. So it is said to be as a physical object. Okay, so the network which consists of this kind of objects, okay, is this called as the Internet of Things. Okay, right. And how it gets the peak over the past few decades due to the advances in connectivity. So before some few decades ago, the internet connection is not this much possible. So now it is very affordable, and everyone can access it, and everyone can able to use it. Why? Because it is due to some government policies. So many of the people, most of the people are getting the internet access in a easier way. Okay, so due to this advances in connectivity, and also the mini cloud service providers are there. They are there, so they are giving the more amount of space to get the data to get accumulated for the further analytics and processing. So many of the cloud computing companies are there. So they are offering some space to put our data. So due to the advances in this internet connectivity and the cloud computing, all the devices can generate the massive amounts of the data in the world of ubiquitous sensing. So in the world of the sensing, the world of sensing in the sense that some AC, it has the ability to transfer by means of the temperature sensor attached to it, and even a person with a pulse rate sensor. Yes, the person has the ability to send the pulse rate the data to the doctors. Okay, So we can, so due to the, due to the advances of the internet connectivity and the cloud computing, we can generate the massive amount of the data in the world of sensing, right? Yes. Though the connectivity is there, though the cloud computing is there, but the real value of IoT is our data, right? So without the temperature data, without the pulse rate data, so no Internet of Things is going to work, right? Yes, the connectivity is just an enabler, but the real value of IoT is held up with the data. Okay, but the real value is data. So that's why there is a famous saying: IoT is a king, the data is a queen, and cloud is a palace. So the king is must. So the IoT is just a kingdom, right? So without queen, there is no kingdom. So which drives the IoT? Yes, my data drives the IoT. The whole kingdom is managed by a queen. My queen is my data. So where this and all things going to happen? So this kind of the processing and the further analytics are going to happen in some palace. Okay, that palace is called as a cloud. Okay, so this is some of the key points of the Internet of Things. Right. Okay. Then some of the best IoT applications over the past few years. So these applications grasp the attention of over the various communities. The first one is the smart monitor, okay, the smart health monitor. So what it does is it can send the signals when your shape is not healthy. See the first image, when your shape is not healthy, okay, so you are supposed to attach it with some wearable sensor, okay. So where you are going, so where you sit frequently, we have to fit some sensor within the in your sitting place. Okay, if your sitting place is not is not in a good position, if you are sitting in some wrong position, that then there will the result some humps, right? Some bends or anything. So what the sensor will do is it will sense your sitting position. If there is any hump formation, it will sense, okay, so my owner is not sitting in a proper position. It will sense that one, and it will start sending this data to the cloud. Okay, it sends the data to the cloud, and some processing are going to happen in the cloud. What kind of processing? It will start sending the data to your doctors. That means your patient is not sitting in a right position, or to your parents or to your caretakers. Okay, so some XRYs, some user, you are the well-wisher or your beloved one is not sitting in a right position. So some harm formation is there. Then what will do? Your end user is getting provided with that kind of useful information, and they will save you by advise you to sit in some good position. So this is some of the enhanced IoT application that is prevailed nowadays, right? Okay. So this error the detected with the monitor. So we can say this application name is the smart monitor. So this smart monitor using some ultrasonic sensors. This ultrasonic sensors can sense the hum formation in your body. Okay. Then comes into your wearable technologies, so that everyone knows and everyone we wants to use, and it has many advantages. It starts sends you the muscle movements over the phone. So how the muscle, so the how many steps you have taken today, and about your muscle movements to your if you are a sport person, it will start sending the data to your coach or some of your caretakers, or to your your sponsors, okay, about your muscle movements. Okay, so this wearable sensors are gaining attraction are gaining today's attraction in a plenty of ways, because in most of the healthcare communities they are insisting this wearable sensors, the mainly for the sportsmen. Okay, so this wearable technology app can sense you the muscle movements instantly. So this instant information is sent by the sensors. So this wearable watch has some tiny sensor that are embedded to it. When it gets attached to your body, it will start it will start sensing your body information. Okay, and it will instantly give some alerts to your coach or to your caretakers. So these are some of the best IoT application. And then is your gardening. So in this pandemic situation, the most of the people or the fond towards the gardening. The gardening, in the sense, there are some automatic irrigation system. So when you are the soil, the moisture is dry, it will automate the motor automatically, and this the automatic irrigation system are embedded with some GPS tools, and it will start sending the exact location where the pesticide is more, or where the pesticide is further in need. So this kind of the information it will start sending to the users. Okay, so the smart gardening also gaining the attraction nowadays. And the last one is the a safety car. Okay, so what the safety car does is, it has some ultrasonic sensor that are attached to it. If there is any obstacle that are trying to come behind you, it will alert you with some buzzer or some messages or some indications. Okay, and also it will start sending you the information about any accidents that are happen in that path. So it will start getting the information from some of the GPS sensor are attached to it, and it will start giving you the information about the accidents that are happened in that path. And also, if there is any accident that are happened to your car, means it will start taking your collision speed, at which speed you are colliding with the you were colliding with the car, and in which position your vehicle is. In all the three dimensions, it will start getting the data after the accident, and it will further transmit to the policeman or to your parents or to your car, the admin, and all the things. That means which end user you wish to send this kind of the data. So these are some of the best IoT applications that are so popular nowadays. Oh, okay. So this entire IoT application needs some of the most prominent technologies. So to use this kind of the application, to build this kind of the application, we have to know what are the technologies that are needed to build this kind of application, and what are the challenges in deploying the IoT applications in our day-to-day life. Okay, right. And the next thing is, yes. So this is the small the pic of the Internet of Things, which gives you the broader idea about what is exactly IoT is. So see, these other things, that means the lighting, product, and HVAC and the vehicle, these are the physical objects. So this physical object is getting life by means of embedded sensor that are connected to it. Okay, and the human being is also one kind of a physical object, right? Then this physical objects start generating the data. Okay, so we need some wireless or communication technology to further transmit this data to the cloud. So without internet connection or without any communication technology, there is no possibility of the data to getting transferred over the network, right? So we need some communication technology. What kind of communication technology we can use to get the device data to the cloud? By means of Bluetooth we can share, by means of the Wi-Fi we can share, by means of LAN we can share the data. Okay, so all the data, after the transmitting the data, we are going to what? We are going to transmit over the wireless communication technologies. Okay, so this, via these technologies, we are going to dump or accumulate our data to the cloud. Okay, so after getting some processing in the cloud, okay, that useful information is sent to the end devices. Okay, that means our mobile or any user application dashboard. So this is what the Internet of Things are. Okay, right. Then coming to the exact definition of IoT. So far we have seen what is an IoT, how the IoT works, and what are the necessary things are needed for the IoT, and what is the physical object, and what is and what is the role of the sensor in the IoT. Then come into the exact definition of IoT. Right. The IoT is a network of physical objects. We all know what is a physical objects, or the people, or we can say it is a people. So we can call them as a things. Okay, we can call them as a things that are embedded. So these things are embedded with the software, with the network and the sensors, and we are going to allowing it to communicate or interact with each other online. That is the main thing. We are letting the things to communicate and to interact among each other via online, okay, using the online access. That means the internet access, right? Here, and the next point is we can extend the internet connectivity. Because in the past few decades we are using this internet connectivity only by the only in the laptops or in some the desktop or in some the smartphones and tablets, but we are trying to extend our internet connectivity to make the dumb things to speak. That means we are giving life to a air conditioner. We are giving life to the refrigerator. We are giving life to some human being. That means a dumb human being. We can able to we can able to gather the data from the physical objects in which the environment in the environment in which they are operated. We are going to gather the things in which they are operated, right? So we are giving the life to the things. That means we are going to extend the internet connectivity from the desktop labs, from the laptops to a objects such as AC, refrigerator. We are so far we can access the things only by means of some desktop PCs or smartphone. But nowadays our electrical appliances are turned into a some useful object, right? So we are going to extend. We are just extend the internet connectivity, right? And we are utilizing the embedded technology. So how we can able to make the things happen? Only when the physical object is connected to some embedded technology that are called so which is called as the sensors. So after that after that sensors are connected to it only, it can able to communicate and to interact with the external environment, right? Okay, so this is the definition of IoT, right? Then what is the clouds considering the IoT, because the role of the cloud is more important in the Internet of Things, because in the cloud computing only all our device data are getting accumulated and getting dumped. Okay, the first thing is the data is stored in the cloud and the data follows you and your devices, because you can be in any remote place, but the data is correctly catches you, and it will and you are provided with the correct exact information about your device, right? So it follows you and your devices. That means a cloud, and the data is accessible anywhere. The only thing is the uninterrupted internet access is the only thing, but you can access the data from anywhere. Okay, and the data can be shared with others also. You can share the device data and your car data or any data with among others also, only with the authenticated users. With the knowledge of the authenticated user, you can share your device data with others, right? And we can say there are 5 C's and 5 N's in the IoT. The first thing is a convergence. That means we are going to converge some of the important technologies. So some of the prominent technologies that we are converging. That means you are going to converge the Internet of Things, cloud computing, sensor, the wireless sensor network is a separate technology. So you are going to converge all these technologies. The next one is the contents. So what is that means the device contents. That means the environmental data, the device data, and the location data, and even the video data, and even the audio data. So these all are the contents of our Internet of Things. The next one is, so with that contents, what you're going to do, we are going to compute something. That means if the temperature is low, so what it will do, so how we can know it is low or high, it has to compute. Okay, so if the sensor 50 degrees Celsius means it has to compute whether it is below 30 or above 30. It has to compute something, right? So that we can say it is a computing. The next one is, after computing, what it will do, it has to communicate with the end device, right? Yes. For that communication, what it will require? It requires the connectivity. So these are the 5 C's. And so after this 5 C's, we can use that 5 C's anytime, anyway, and we can use any service, and we can use any kind of network, and we can apply this 5 C's over any object. When that object is connected with the embedded sensors, that object gets the life. Okay, we can say it as a thing in the Internet of Things, right? So these are the importance of clouds when considering the IoT. Then comes how IoT works. So these are these four are the fundamental components of IoT to getting worked. The first one is the sensors and the devices. The sensors, as a human being, we are having some eyes, nose, ear, the ears to sense the external environment. Then how the dumb object getting the life. So how that object the getting this kind of the senses. Yes, there are some devices or tiny equipments available which has the ability to sense the environment, right? So these are the key component of our IoT that helps you to collect the live data from the surrounding environment. Okay, for example, moisture sensor, what it will, what it does, it catches the gather the moisture content of the soil, and it's a temperature. For example, that the fire sensor. So there is some sorry, the fire alarm. Yeah, you can see in some what the shopping mall. Actually how it works. So that fire alarm is embedded with the temperature sensor. So after the temperature sensor senses the temperature of that particular environment, it will start sending that signal to the fire alarm. Then only the alarm will on. Right. Then, yeah. So these are the sensors and the devices. So without the sensors and the devices, the IoT never happened. And then, so after the device getting some data, so then what is the thing? We have to get connected to the internet. So the connectivity is a must. So all the collected data is then sent to the cloud infrastructure, as I said. So so after collecting the data from the sensors and the devices, we have to dump our data, accumulate our data in the cloud. Okay, so this sensor should be connected to the cloud using the various mediums of communication, and this communication medium may be some satellite networks or some Bluetooth or Wi-Fi or LAN, WAN, etc. And the third one is a data processing. So once the data is collected and gets into a cloud, the software there, that means the software running in the cloud, performs some processing on the gathered data. So this process can be, so what kind of the processing can be the temperature checking or the reading some devices like AC or heaters. However, it can sometimes also be very complex also, like identifying objects using the computer vision or video. So this kind of the complex process also can happen in the cloud. Okay, so this processing can be just transferred to the data to the end user is also one type of the processing. And some of the cloud has the processing capability of computing some output. Okay, so it has to check whether the temperature is lower to the threshold that is fixed in that the cloud program, or so if the if the temperature exceeds the threshold, it has to send the information as temperature exceeds. So this kind of computation is also going to happen in the cloud, or just sharing the data also can happen in the cloud. And some of the cloud has some capability of computing some complex application, for example face recognition. So after sensing the person image from the camera sensor, it has to recognize whether the collected image is the victim image or not. So this kind of complex process also can be done by the cloud. Okay, well, that's the data processing is the third important one. And the last one is the user interface. So after getting converted into some useful information, that means my device data, my raw data is converted into some useful information. So this information needs to be available to the end user in some way, right? Which can be achieved by, so how it can be achieved? Either by trigger alarms on their phones, or sending them notification or my email or some text message. And what all needs is they have to be interfaced with the device. That means the uninterrupted internet access is also is always be there to get the exact information. Okay, so this is how the internet works. So by the sensors, the devices are collecting the information. So after collecting the information by means of any the communication technology, my device data is then transferred to the cloud. In that cloud, some processing is going to happen, and after some processing, my data is converted into a useful information, and that useful information is going to it is going to give to the end user. Okay, it is going to available in the end user hands, right? So this is the overall process of the IoT, right? Okay. Then comes IoT layers. So what is this IoT layer and why it is important? So if any communication on or any network, so for sending the information from the sender to the receiver, it has to follow some sequence. Okay, so without sequence and without any hierarchy, no the data is transmitted from the cloud to the internet. From the sender to the receiver, right? Then what is the hierarchy? So what is the sequence that are followed to transfer the data from the devices to the end user? Okay, the first is the three-layered approach is widely used in some simple application. For example, automatic irrigation system. It is a simple IoT application. In that application, only a three-layered approach is followed. In some complex applications, that means in some business application, for example, say some industrial applications, or in some the logistic application for sending the goods from the sender to the receiver. It needs some higher end of the higher end of layers to getting the things happen. So these are the two kinds of layers. The first is a three-layer approach. So in this three-layer approach, the first layer is a perception layer. So what is a perception layer? Is nothing but the physical layer. In my physical layer, all my devices and the sensors is getting attached, right? So in this layer only, the sensors are gather the information about the environment. It senses some physical parameters like the temperature or pressure or any heart rate, or identified other smart objects in the network, right? So the perception layer is meant only for sensing and gathering the data. And after sensing and gathering, what it will do? It is responsible for connecting to the smarter things. That means the network devices. That's I have said either to the Bluetooth or either to the LAN. Okay, so it is responsible for connecting to the other smart things or network devices. It is also useful for transmitting and processing our sensor data. In this in this layer only, my processing of data is going to get happen, right? The network layer is, we can also call our network layer as a transmission layer, and it is a bridge between the perception layer and the application layer. So what the main thing happen in the network layer is the information that are collected from the physical objects through the sensors are getting transmitted to the network. So this is what happened in the network layer, right? And the next one is the application layer. So after my device data is getting transmitted over the network, my application layer is responsible for delivering the application specific services. Okay, so what is application specific services? Whether my data is a healthcare data, means application specific means that means your patient have the pulse rate of this. The heartbeat rate is the present condition of your patient. So this kind of information is the application specific services in the application layer. Okay, so this is a three-layer approach. The three-layer approach is often used in some small-scale IoT application. So then comes into some of the business application. For example, some logistic application. Okay, well, so in the processing layer, so there is only additionally two layers are there. One is a processing layer, and the last one is a business layer. So in the processing layer is also known as, we can call it as a middleware layer. So in this middleware layer, it has a responsibility for eliminating some extra information that has no meaning, because all the device data, we are getting some raw data. So there are many unused data and many extra information are there in the cloud. So in my processing layer, this extra information are get pre-processed, and only the useful information are getting transmitted to the upper layer, that is called as an application layer. Okay, so this processing layer is only going to be there in some complex business application. It is not going to be in some simple applications. Okay, and the last one is a business layer. So in this business layer, which has the ability to manage and control the business and profit models of IoT. So in this layer, the authentication and the security applications are running in this business layer. So the main motive of the business layer to look in the business perspective. So which is the useful information that are going to increase my company revenue. So that kind of information is only accessed in the business layer. Even though my application layer consists of some useful information, my business layer will going to extract only the information which gives the revenue to our company. Okay, so this is the role of business layer in the IoT layers. So this is the sequence that are followed for transmitting the data from the device to the end user. Okay, right. Then comes into the IoT application. So what are the applications that are possible by using this kind of the technology, by using the IoT technology? The first one is a thermostat, the smart thermostat. So what is the role of the smart thermostat? So it helps you to save the resources on heating bills by knowing your usage patterns. So it will start assessing your the usage patterns, and it will alarm you. Okay, you are using some more amount of energy. Your electricity bill is going to hit the top level. Please lower your use. Please reduce their usage. So this kind of information is given to the end user by means of the smart thermostats. Okay, and the next one is the connected cars. The connected cars, it will handle your billing, and it will the ride you in a correct way, and it will giving alerts about your insurance of your car, and other related applications such as parking, the smart parking. So these are all the applications of connected cars. And the next one is the activity trackers. The the trackers helps you to capture the heart rate pattern of you, the calorie expenditure, how much calories you are consumed today. So this kind of the things you can easily track by means of the activity trackers. And the smart outlets, that means you can remotely turn on and off your the electrical appliances. And also it is used to track your the energy level of your device, and it will start sending the notifications to your smartphone. So this kind of the things you can make possible by applying the smart outlets. So the smart outlets are most widely used application nowadays. And the parking sensors, it helps you to identify the real-time availability of the parking space on your phone, and the parking space in your the premises, and it will start giving the notifications of the available space to your smartphones itself. And the connected health, and connected health in the sense it will the real-time health monitoring, patient care, and some of the wearables are there, the smart wearables, and it will start the counting your pulse rates, and your BP levels, and your sugar levels. And after sensing that the readings, it will transmit that your healthcare data to your end users. So this kind of the things it is possible by means of the connected health. And the next one is the smart city. Yes, the smart bin management, the smart parking, that all comes under the smart cities. And smart home. And smart home is the remote, the monitoring of your electrical appliances, and you can on and off your electrical appliances from the remote place. So this and all the things can happen, can be possible by means of the smartphones. And the smart supply chain, that means from the area of the manufacturer to the consumer place. So all the what so the your whole journey is tracked and monitored by means of IoT sensors. Okay, so that the end user can know what is the what is the exact the status of my food, whether my food is very safe, and it is under the constant temperature. So this kind of the things the end user can easily know by means of this smart sensor that are attached in the supply chain management, right? So these are some of the prominent IoT applications. And yes, what are the technologies that drives the IoT? Okay, in the end user perspective, we have to be very clear in what are the technologies that are needed to drive the IoT application other than the cloud computing. Yes, the cloud computing is important, but apart from this, what are the technologies that are driving this Internet of Things? The first one is the sensors and the actuators. We all know what is a sensor. is a device that detect any change or event in the environment and generates the corresponding output sensor signals. So these are some of the sensors that you might see near laboratories and all the things. So this sensing is a characteristic of any device to detect the presence of particular physical quantity or not. So which is a physical quantity? Temperature, pressure, pulse rate, moisture. So these are the physical quantities. Okay. So what is the output of the sensor? The output of the sensor is nothing but a signals. It will start generating the signals. So which is converted into human readable form. Okay. So when your sensor start generating the signals, that signal is sent to your end device, and your end device, then the signals are then the transmitted to the cloud, and from the cloud the end user get provided with that exact useful information about the condition of that device. Okay, so the sensing and actuation is an important role, so plays an important role in the Internet of Things. And what is an actuator? So after, so which part we are going to automate after getting the signal from the sensor? It is very important, because whether you are going to on the motor, whether you are going to off the motor, so from the sensor signal you are going to actuate something. You are going to control the action of some devices, or you are going to deal with controlling the mechanical action of any devices. So actuator is a part of the system that deals with the control action required from the sensor signal, which device are going to control. So that device is called as the actuators. Okay, so from the temperature sensor, my AC is going to get on, my AC is going to get off, or it can or it is going to act controlling or adjusting the temperature by itself. So which is actuator here? My AC is the actuator. Okay, right. And yeah, the control here, the control signal is the input to an actuator, and the energy source is necessary for its operation. Yes, because for electrical appliances, that is it has to be provided with some the constant energy supply, power supply, or it may be some battery powered application appliances. Means yes, it should be the abundant supply of the battery. The supplies should be maintained for the correct actuation. So this is the technology. So this is the important technology for the Internet of Things. The first one is the sensors and the actuators, and the next one is a machine-to-machine interaction. Machine-to-machine interaction, that means the two machines are going to talk, but we are not going. But the device is not sorry, the information is not going to hit in the any user. It is going to give to the another machine, from one machine to another machine. For example, if you are the consider your refrigerator. Okay, so if the things are going to get reduced, the things in the sense the products inside that means the things the vegetables or fruits that are kept inside the refrigerator will sense the number of that means the count in the refrigerator, and according to the count, if the count getting decreased, means what it will do means it will automatically orders the fruits and vegetables to any to any cooking sorry, any the food delivery websites. Okay, it'll start um, giving the product, or it'll start by its what it will start yes, it will start giving the request to the Amazon websites by itself. The refrigerator is going to talk with another machine without the intervention of the human being. Okay, the communication between from one machine to another machine. It will start placing the orders by itself. The refrigerator will place the order when the count inside the refrigerator is getting reduced. When the count getting reduced, the refrigerator ordered to the Amazon website by itself. Here, only the machine and machine are getting interacted, and not with any human being. So without the intervention of human being, when the machine to machine are going to interact, means it comes under the machine to machine interaction. So in many of the IoT applications, this machine to machine interaction also plays a major role. So what is the main difference between this machine to machine and the IoT is the IoT the main the end device is the human being. Because the human being is going to get provided with that useful information. But in the machine to machine interaction, only the device data is going to send to another device and not to the human being or to the end user. Okay, so this is the another important technology in the Internet of Things. And the third one is the RFID. The RFID, it is mostly used in the logistics to track the location of that particular product, whether the product is your food truck, or it may be your container, or it may be any important goods. You have to fix some the RFID tag to it. You can track that the location and position of your particular product from anywhere, and you can access and you can know the exact status of your product from anywhere. So this kind of technology, for using this kind of the technology, we need some tiny devices called as the RFID. So RFID is a technology to identify the objects or to control the target through some radio waves, right? So it is often seen as a prerequisite for the IoT, because IoT, the main thing of the IoT is the remote monitoring. For the remote monitoring, yeah, when we try to the monitor the present the status of our product, means we have to use some technology called as RFID. Okay, so the RFID is a built-in antenna that communicates the scanning device that reads the data remotely. The data is then transferred from the scanning device to the enterprise application software where your data has to be put in. Okay, so each RFID tag has its unique identifying number. Connecting the RFID terminal to the internet, the readers can identify, track, monitor the objects that can attach with the tags automatically in the real time if needed. Well, it is a communication between the tag and the reader. So this is an exact working of the RFID. Yes, first the RFID tag is attached to the assets. Assets in the sense your product, in which product you are going to track, which product you are going to sense. That is called as an asset. To transmit the stored data to the antenna. Yes, from the RFID tag, there is an antenna fixed to the RFID tag. It receives the data from the tag and transmits the data to an RFID reader. From the RFID reader, we can read the exact status of our product. Okay, then that data is then transmitted to a database via any communication technologies. Okay, so this is this RFID are used in some logistic application or some security application. So this RFID tag is attached to the security trucks, so you can monitor and you can assess where my truck is in, and whether a container is going in a correct temperature, or the food is kept in some high temperature or the correct temperature. So this kind of the things we can able to assess, and we can able to monitor by means of RFID technology. And in some application we can come across this the near field application, whereas the RFID it has some antenna embedded to it. It has some highest communication range, but the near field communication we can able to assess or track within that particular range only. Okay, it can enable the communication only within the short range, the less than 10 centimeter, and it operates at 13°56 megahertz radio range. Okay, and it's a contactless mode of the communication using the electromagnetic waves. So this kind of the things we can come across in the the markets and the shopping malls we can come across. So it is actually used for the secured the money transaction. Well, the sensor attached to it, it will start sensing that particular authenticated user, and from the authenticated user only the money has to be debited or not. So this kind of information we can make it possible by means of near field communication. So this is some of the important technology that drives the Internet of Things. And the last one is a wireless sensor network. Yes. So what is this wireless sensor network? So this wireless sensor network, if my network consists of more number of sensors, okay, if it is if my application is a small application, it consists of only one sensor, means yes, it is a normal sensor network is enough. But when my application consists of more number of sensors, okay, my application is very large. It consists of large number of sensors, means I need to form a network with a current with a current gateway. Okay. For example, if my wireless sensor network is a telemedicine network, consider it is a telemedicine network. It consists of more than 100 sensors, that are 100 sensors placed over 50 patients. Okay, so each patient having the two sensors that are connected to it, right? So if this 100 sensor are going to generate the data, there exists some data traffic, right? So it is not possible to gather all the data to the cloud, and the processing takes place. So to lower that burden, we have to place one sync node over the sensor network. Okay, so all the data that are gathered from the from the patients are going to accumulated in some sync node. Okay, from the sync node, it has to go to the gateway, right? So to gather all the information from the gateway, it has to transmit it to the cloud. Okay, so in the cloud only some processing will takes place, and the useful information is what is transmitted to the hospital, to the doctor, or to the caretakers. Okay, so this sync node or target node, we have to you have to assign a high quality and a high memory backup node. So so via that node only, it can reach the gateway, and from the gateway to the cloud, and from the cloud to the end users. Okay, so these are some of the technologies of the IoT networks. Okay, what the first one is the sensors and actuators, machine to machine interaction. Yes, because the one machine is going to communicate with another machine without the intervention of the human being, right? And the next one is the RFID. From RFID only, you can track the location of that particular object. And near field the communication is the short range communication. Okay, for the security purposes, for the money transfer kind of application, we can use the near field communication. And the next one is a wireless sensor network. Wireless sensor network can use it for some larger applications. Okay, and what are the actual challenges we have faced while creating the IoT network? The first thing is the security. So think of, we are going to deal with some millions of terabytes of data over the network. So there exists one question, whether my data is protected, okay, whether my data is secured or not. So because it is open to all, it is transparent to all, many users are accessing the cloud. So where is my sensitive, if my application consists of some sensitive data, I have one question, whether my data is secure or not. For that, you have to build some advanced cyber security the algorithms to enhance the security of my data. And the next one is the privacy. To enhance the privacy, we have to build some strong data encryption policies for the privacy of my data. And reliable, whether my data is reliable. The reliable in the sense, when the power goes out, the local internet service provider is experiencing an outage, then the entire system goes offline. There may be some natural disasters or emergencies. In that kind of the things, my data get lost, right? If there is any power outage, or if I am going offline, then there is no data communication takes place. In that cases, we have to be very keen. So for that, the many of the researchers try to they invent some of the low power and offline support IoT applications to make the system more reliable. Okay, and the next one is the resource consumption. So beyond electricity, the data requires physical storage. Okay, resource consumption is the consumption in the sense. We have to be we have to be take the memory and the power backup into an account. Okay. Beyond electricity, the data requires a physical storage. Even with the cloud and edge computing solution, there is still a remote server that are connected to the network, so which is used to getting accumulated with all the digital contents. So in that case, the resource consumption is more and more important. For that, some of the low power embedded devices and some RFID technologies are being invented to overcome this kind of the resource consumption. And the next one is a bandwidth. For an uninterrupted internet access for a larger IoT application, there should be a larger bandwidth of net. There should be a larger bandwidth of data. So then only you can transmit our massive amount of data over the internet without any data traffic, right? And the next one is the scalability. The scalability in the sense, the more and more devices are getting attached to the internet day by day. So my system should not should compete with that kind of challenges. My system should be very scalable. So any number of users I can able to add. Okay. So my system should not face with any the temperature. Sorry. So my system should not face with any performance degradation. Okay. So the data should be provided with the correct information and with the exact information. So my system should be scalable. Any amount of users I can be what it should be possible to add any number of users. Okay, so these are some of the challenges. So for that the scalability, that is so there are some the middleware resource architectures are there. So by using the middleware resource architecture, we can make the system more scalable. We can add any number of users. Okay, so the architecture can be a possible solution that will separate the application layer with the physical layer implementation and the number of devices connected. So we can scale our IoT network. Okay, so these are some of the challenges that are prevailed when we are trying to deploy an IoT network, and these are the possible solutions for the challenges. Okay, so this middleware resource architecture is still in research. It is not implemented anywhere, but they are trying to implement in some bigger IoT applications to make the system more scalable. Okay, and the last one is, what are some business opportunities? So because the world is under some health crisis, so many of the medical and the fitness the spheres are getting evolved. So there is a need for the many the IoT medical devices is in a way. So the budding engineers can they make use of that vacuum, and we can able to what make such kind of the medical devices for the easy use of the remote as the remote monitoring of the patients. And the healthcare investment in IoT is also is skyrocketing. So there are excellent business opportunities, and more IoT engineers are still in need by many companies, and more productive that means the WFH, and means the retail and the safer, more efficient store, and the supermarkets are getting in a smarter way. So many of the applications using using IoT, there is a need of so there is a need of even more smarter. They are trying to make the things even more smarter, and in the city scale, and the cars and road safety. So these are the areas where the IoT engineers are still in need for the new arrival of the new things and the new devices. And so these are some of the business opportunities that are available in the IoT. So I try to they make the things that means the Internet of Things in a simpler way. So these are some of the introduction in an end user perspective. Okay, so we have seen what are the technologies, and what are the best applications, and what is an Internet of Things, and what are the and how IoT works, and what is the sequence that are followed in IoT, and what are the IoT applications, and what are the technologies that drives the IoT, and what are some of the business opportunities, and what are the main thing is the challenges and solutions, and what are the challenges that are prevailed in deploying the IoT, and what are the possible solutions that are there to overcome the challenges, and what are the business opportunities that are available in the IoT, right? So that's all, guys. So in this 1 hour, it is not enough to say all the things that are in the Internet of Things. The things present. So it is a big ocean. We can't cover all the things in this 1 hour. But I try to say some of the well, what are the fundamentals and basics you need to know to develop an IoT application. So in the last class, we have seen IoT in industries, some industrial application, some hands-on experiences. So behind the hands-on experiences, these are the basic things that you need to know to develop a new IoT applications. Okay. Okay. Thank you all.